These are stories that I've grown up with as a nurse, that grew me up really as a nurse on the inpatient units here at Valdese Hospital. First of all, I'll say that in 1974, my first experience at Valdese Hospital was as a high school senior. I was awarded a scholarship from the Valdese Hospital Guild, and I believe that scholarship check did several things. It had several purposes. One, of course, it paid some school expenses. It also taught me later on in life, after I became an employee here, working here, to value our volunteers in the volunteer services department. But it definitely served a purpose, no doubt. It connected me to Valdese Hospital for the first time. In 1982, Valdese was involved in a lawsuit in which an African American registered nurse was accused the hospital administration of racism when she said that she was passed over for a promotion that she believed that she was qualified for. Shortly after that, there was some turnover in administration, and in 1983, a very dynamic, a very intelligent, and a very innovative Mary Alice Withers was appointed the Director of Nursing. She interviewed me in 1984. I was hired along with two other African American nurses from my nursing class. The purpose of that story? Well, it tells me that everybody deserves a do-over. And sometimes you do get a second chance to make another impression. As a house supervisor on a Saturday morning when I was called to the front desk to speak to a gentleman who had an unusual request, he walked me outside, pointed at his pickup truck filled with corn that he had cut from his garden. He said, "Ma'am, I need to pay my bill." He said, "Will you take the corn or can I sell it and just give you the money?" He said, "You see, I need to pay those doctors and nurses who took care of me when I was sick." The purpose? I think I observed integrity in action. A young mother of two with two very small girls was admitted just weeks before Christmas with an aggressive and advancing form of cancer from which she had never received treatment because she and her husband could not afford it. We cared for her while her girls and her husband stayed most every night with her in her room. She died just before Christmas. Our staff collected money. We bought 2 bicycles and a coat for her husband. Purpose? Definitely a lesson in caring and compassion. We purchased portable radios for patient rooms because we noticed that when patients had radios, they were happier and they didn't press their call buttons as often. Purpose? To show that customer service was important even before we started measuring it. A couple from out of state wrecked on I-40, traveling with their 2 dogs who both ran away after the wreck. One was found by the highway patrol that day. The hospital staff posted pictures of the second dog in the hospital and in the neighborhood around the hospital. And days later, somebody called and said they found the dog. One of our employees cared for the dog until the owners returned for him many days later. Purpose of that story? I think it showed dedication and what a team can accomplish when they're dedicated. A patient left unannounced off the 4th floor, IV pole and Foley in hand. Some of you remember this one. He crossed the street right over here, went to the grill and got some food. The grill called and we went over to escort him back with his bag of food, which contained a couple of sandwiches he bought for staff because he heard them say they would not have lunch that day. Purpose? To remind us the impact we have on the patients that we serve. One of my coworkers who lived about 1.5 miles down the road walked to work in the snow and the cold, vowing not to leave her teammates short on a bad weather day. She arrived on time for work, wet, cold, and crying, but she was safe. The purpose? Others may want to call it something else, but we choose to call it loyalty. We were blessed to experience lots of people from the Hmong culture here at Valdese Hospital and experience a lot of their customs. One particularly while caring for a mom and her 8-month-old stillborn baby girl. We helped prepare its little body for burial, following the instructions of the elders of her tribe. We sat with them and handled the baby with care. The thin skin, the fragile baby girl we swaddled and placed in a small, very ornate red box that we presented to the mother. Then we sat with her and we cried with her as she stared at her baby girl through very large, loving tears. Barely bigger than a handful, the images of that sweet little baby's face are still etched in my mind. Purpose of that story? Those moments are truly what connect you to purpose, and you should never forget them. Finally, every hospital in America has a corporate story. But David said, not today, Carol. Where is he at? David Pope. That's in there. So, skipping down to the next paragraph. If you want to hear it later, we'll go outside. So, in conclusion, it seems I've learned a lot about my purpose as a nurse here run up at Valdese Hospital. From the day I received that scholarship check to this very moment, there is something about this campus that I'll always carry with me everywhere I go. So as we transition from one place to another, remember the commitment, the integrity, the compassion, dedication, the loyalty, and whatever sweet images you have etched in your mind will be with you wherever you go. It's your inheritance from Valdese Hospital inpatient care. Always make your patient your purpose. Thank you.